So as you may know, I did have the Corsair A540 case. Now whilst I really like that case, it took up way too much space. Now, it wasn't a major issue in the attic, but when I came down into the basement, it really ate into my desk space. I am quite a heavy VR gamer, and the A540 wasn't really best suited for that, or in my case anyways, because of how wide it was. Fishing cables behind the PC wasn't really something that I wanted to keep doing, and especially on this desk where it isn't quite wide, it did get quite frustrating, so that's why I went out and bought a new case. So in the end, I did opt for the NZXT S340 Elite. Now I chose this case for mainly two reasons. The first one was because of its VR capability, so it does have a HDMI pass-through in the top I/O, which will make plugging in the Oculus Rift a lot easier, because all I have to do is plug in the HDMI cable and the USB cable, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Now the other reason I chose it was because it would take up a lot less space than the A540 did, because that was quite a hefty case. So now I have more room on my desk, and because my desk isn't as wide as some other desks, it does come in handy. So those are two main reasons. Another reason was because of its, its tempered glass side panel, which does look quite cool and a lot better than the acrylic panel on the A540, and because it's white and it fits quite well with my current setup with my white desk. I'm kind of going for a white and black theme. So whilst I will miss the A540, let's get these cases switched out.
I've been dreaming, 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 I've been dreaming. I've been dreaming, I've been dreaming, I've been dreaming, I've been dreaming.
So that's the case swap done. We moved the PC from the A540 into the NZXT S340 Elite, and it does look quite nice sat on the desk. But with that part out of the way, let's get into the review section. So I picked up the NZXT S340 Elite for around £80. Now that is £30 more than what you would pay if you got the normal S340, but you do get some upgrades with the added Elite branding. So for one, it does come with a tempered glass side panel window as opposed to the acrylic window found in the S340. And you do get those VR features like I mentioned before in the review, which is the HDMI pass-through and the extra USB 3.0 port, which lets you plug in your Oculus Rift or HTC Vive into the front of your PC. Now the tempered glass on the S340 Elite is mounted by 4 thumb screws, which secure the glass onto these 4 rubber pegs. Now whilst it's not the easiest thing to get on, like you do have to push the glass onto the pegs in order to screw it in, and it would have been nice to see maybe a different mounting method, but you know, for the price you can't really complain too much. Now the edges of the glass are blacked out, so you don't see any of the cables or the front IO peeking out in front of you, so all you see is your beautiful components with your nice cable management. Now speaking of cable management, this case just offers quite a few options for it. Like around the back side of the motherboard tray, you will find some cable holders which secure the cables nicely. Don't expect to put too many cables in there, as those clips are quite easy to open. Now the case is solidly built with the steel chassis, and it is available in a wide variety of colours. In my case I went with the white version, but you can also get it in a matte black, a black and blue version, and a black and red version. The exterior of the case is black, but the actual cable shaft bit is what changes, so that can be red or blue, or you can have it all matte black. Now the side panels have little to no flex, and they do have captive thumb screws, which is nice to see, so you won't end up losing the thumb screws when you take the side panels off. Now the case comes with two 120mm fans, one in the back and one in the top. Now they are configured for exhaust. Now it would have been nice to see a mount for another 120mm fan at the top, as there is the room for it, and that would mean you could then fit a 240 or 280 radiator at the top of the case as well, but you know, we can only wish. But the case does support a front mounted radiator, and that can be either 240 or 280mm. Now in my case I do have the two fans as exhaust, then I have my radiator fans as intake, so that's pulling cool air, and then the two fans at the back and the top are taking a lot of hot air out of the case. Now along the top with the power supply shroud, you will find options to mount two 2.5-inch SSDs or hard drives. Then you have another mount that is directly facing the tempered glass, which will let you show off your SSD in all of its glory. And if you do happen to have an RGB SSD, because you know they make them now, you could really show off your PC and with all of its RGB goodness. Now like I said, the main reason I bought this case in particular was because of its VR functionalities, but that is also the downfall of the case. Now what do I mean by that? Well, you might not have this, but in my case, when I got the case and plugged in my VR headset, I had no input coming into the headset. All I saw was, I could hear the sound, but there was no video. But the good thing was contacting NZXT support did manage to sort that out, and they did send me a replacement front IO, which I had to replace, which was fun. But when I did that, it was all good. So whilst it's not a deal breaker, because you can contact NZXT and they will replace it for you, or they'll send the replacement part, because it is a common problem with these cases. Now hopefully you don't have the same issue, but as I've had the issue, I thought I'd let you guys know, just so you know, if you do end up getting the case and HDMI pass-through doesn't work, that could be why it wasn't working. Now another reason I got this case in particular, because it has the extra USB port at the top to plug in the VR headset, that lets me free up more USB 3.0 ports at the back of my case, because with that motherboard it already has 4 USB 3.0 ports. So before, I'd have to constantly unplug my keyboard and my mouse to make enough sockets for the sensors and the Oculus Rift. But now I just need to unplug one thing and I can just plug in the second sensor and I'm good to go. Now building in this case was a dream. I liked how I could cable manage all my cables in the included clips, and I could, I can make it nice and tight and just make it look really nice from the front, because it is a tempered glass side panel, so I want to make sure my cables look nice and neat. And it is built solidly. It doesn't feel cheap to say. It does have NZXT's iconic style. The front panel does have quite a large gap, which is good to let airflow in. So if you do end up mounting 2 fans at the front or a radiator, it won't be starved for air. Now for my final thoughts, this is a great case for anyone, even if you aren't actually into VR. It's still quite a nice looking minimalistic case. Now if you do happen to own VR, this case will make your life a hell of a lot easier when it comes to plugging in a headset. Now I haven't seen another case in the market yet which also has a HDMI pass-through at the front, and honestly it does help a lot when it comes to setting up the VR to use. It's just plugging 2 cables in and you're pretty much ready to go at the front. And also it gives the cable more slack, so you have more room to move around without it being tugged behind and then wrapped around the PC. So that's my review of the NZXT S340 Elite. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.